South Carolina reserves. The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes now to the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Casten.
The gentleman from Illinois is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, there is a really simple question that's before us today. Is it in the U.S. national interest to look out for U.S. energy consumers or for U.S. energy producers? Let's look at the facts. According to most recent DOE data over the last decade, U.S. gas consumption is up by about 26%. U.S. gas production is up about 50%. And U.S. gas exports are up 326%. 10 years ago, just 6% of all gas produced in the U.S. was for export. Today, more than 20% is for export. That's not because the industry is succeeding. They can't compete against cheaper renewable energy, and so they're trying to export overseas, and y'all are helping them out. Those export volumes are going to triple again just based on the stuff that's already permitted in the pipeline. Nothing to do with what's going on today. Now, I'd like to remind my Republican colleagues, because sometimes we need to remind on this, that even in this body where we write the laws, you cannot change the laws of supply and demand. When U.S. natural gas is exported overseas, it reduces domestic supply and increases the price. And we know this from recent experience, because when the Freeport LNG terminal had that explosion, according to the Department of Energy, domestic prices for natural gas fell by nearly a third. Now, exporters, very sad, they lost money. You know who had more money in their pocket? American consumers. Gas was cheaper. You all hate inflation, right? That was wonderful. Thank you for doing that. Who are you rooting for, though? Mr. Speaker, there is a reason why the Natural Gas Act does not require us to determine whether domestic production of energy for domestic use is in the national interest, because we rightly assume that domestic energy security is in our national interest. But that's not the question posed by this bill. This bill would insist that exports are always in the national interest, and that is a technical term, total poppycock. Should we drill on public lands? Should we use eminent domain to seize private property? Should we increase the price of energy in the United States? Should we increase global warming?
The gentleman's time is
And yield the gentleman another minute.
The gentleman is recognized.
Should we increase global warming? Should we do all of that just so that the natural gas industry can make more money selling U.S. resources to Asia, not to Europe, because that's where the margin is going? Or should we maintain the current law that simply asks us to determine whether that is in the public interest before permitting a new facility? Now, to paraphrase a great political scientist by the name of Jeff Foxworthy, if you think that's a hard question, you might be a Republican. But it's not a hard question. This is a bad bill for the climate. It's a bad bill for the economy. It's a bad bill for the U.S. consumer. Vote no. And if you can't, at least be honest about who you're working for. I yield back.
The gentleman yields.